The NFL trade deadline has officially come and gone, and the Pittsburgh Steelers did not make a move. We're going to be discussing everything that went down today when it comes to the rumors. Apparently, the Steelers were in on Jaylon Johnson, but unfortunately couldn't fleece Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears for the second straight year. I'll be breaking down everything that happened along with other Steelers news items that came to the forefront here throughout the day. Coming up here. But first, get in the comments section and let me know. Were the Steelers winners or losers at the trade deadline by not making a move? Type W if you think they were a winner by keeping their draft picks, or type L if you think they're losers for not improving this roster. So now, the Steelers make no trades here at the deadline this year. Personally, I would probably think that just because from a personal standpoint here, right? We literally made probably about 50 trade rumors videos on this channel over the last month or so. And for them to have no trades here, it's a little bit disappointing on my end as a content creator, but I can also see why people are going to say that the Steelers were winners today. You were able to hang on to your draft capital. The Steelers are a team that traditionally likes to build through the draft, and really the closest we got to a trade today was for Bears cornerback Jaylon Johnson. Omar Khan was looking to once again fleece the Chicago Bears. He did it last year with the Chase Claypool trade, and it sounds like he was offering a third-round pick in exchange for Jaylon Johnson. The Bears were not biting on that, and it's looking like Johnson is going to be a Bear for the rest of the 2023 season. According to a report from Jordan Schultz, the Steelers made a very strong push at getting cornerback Jaylon Johnson today. And honestly, I would have loved to see Jaylon Johnson in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform alongside Joey Porter Jr. this year. This defense could have certainly used another piece here on this defense. I think the defense is great right now. I think if you add Jaylon Johnson, who's currently ranked as the number 3 graded cornerback in the National Football League, personally, I think you got probably one of the best defenses in the National Football League, if not the best, especially with Cam Hayward about to come back here. So let's, before I get into the rest of today's action here, we got some more NFL rumors going around, other Steelers news items to discuss. But first, I want to discuss our sponsor on today's show, PrizePicks. I've been absolutely addicted to using this app ever since we started partnering with these guys, and I want you guys to have just as much fun as I have been having. If you want to spice up your game days this NFL season, get started with PrizePicks today. It's a skill-based, real money or a daily fantasy sports game. And if you're wondering how this thing works, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my most recent entry here, where I'm going to go the less on Tua Tagovailoa passing yards this week when the Chiefs play the Dolphins. And I'm also going to go with the more on Patrick Mahomes. I think that Tua and that Dolphins offense have kind of hit a rocky spot in their season. I think the Chiefs defense is pretty darn good as well. And then Mahomes, I think, bounces back after a rough week against the Denver Broncos. You can get your picks in now. Check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. With PrizePicks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for deposit match up to $100 today. Now listen, man, Jaylon Johnson, in my opinion, is one of the top 10 corners in the National Football League so far this season. He's currently ranked 3rd among Pro Football Focus grading, and we almost added him to this Steelers cornerback rumor. Joey Porter Jr. looks like a legitimate future star in this league. And Patrick Peterson, let's face it, he's looked a little slow. He's looked a little old. They're moving him around more now. He can't really keep up on the outside with some of these elite wide receivers anymore. And Levi Wallace is currently dealing with a toe injury. And even when he's been in the game, it hasn't been great. So it seemed like the missing piece for this Steelers defense was this number 1 corner, this bona fide number 1 corner. And Johnson would have given you that. He's really good in press man. He's really good in cover 2 as well. That's what Chicago runs a ton of there. He's really good in those Tampa 2 looks on 3rd down. And it would have been really nice to add him to this group. But you do have Darius Rush. You do have Corey Trice Jr. waiting in the wings. Corey Trice, of course, tore his ACL. He's out for the season. But it'll be nice to see him back next season. future is still bright in the Steelers secondary, in my opinion, and it definitely seemed like, according to the reporting out of Chicago right now, that the Bears wanted a second-round pick in exchange for Jaylon Johnson's services, and the Steelers and other teams were not willing to give that up. Jaylon has not graded quite as high as he is this season in previous years, so those teams were kind of weighing the risks involved of trading a second-round pick. Steelers could potentially be in the market for a quarterback next year in the draft as well. They obviously have needs along the offensive line that they need to address in the draft next year. So it seems like Omar Khan was like, hey, we'll take Jaylon Johnson for a third-round pick and Levi Wallace, and you can take it or leave it. And the Bears were like, fine, we'll keep him for the rest of the season and play our luck. Definitely want to look out for Jaylon Johnson on the free agency market come next offseason, though, because it seems like the Steelers definitely have their eye on him. So now I think that Chicago definitely learned their lesson from last year, okay? So last year you trade a second-round pick to Pittsburgh in exchange for Chase Claypool, one of the worst trades in NFL history, gives Joey Porter Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it seems like Ryan Poles just didn't want to mess this one up again. He didn't want to trade Jaylon Johnson for a third-round pick in Levi Wallace and then have him turn into a legit top 10 lockdown number one corner in this league. He wanted at least a second-round pick. Omar Khan wasn't willing to pony up the draft pick, so therefore no deal got done. Now let me know if you think that was a good decision by Omar Khan to stick to his guns today. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers have traded a second-round pick in exchange for Jaylon Johnson? Type yes or type no. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. I want to see how you guys are feeling about today's events at the trade deadline. So my answer to that is hopefully no. Hopefully this isn't a bad decision by Omar Khan. Maybe you get Jaylon Johnson in free agency next offseason and everything works out in the end. And hopefully this Steelers team can still make the playoffs with the roster that's currently constructed. But there's certainly the possibility that not making a move here at the deadline completely sinks this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The offense is not working well right now. I would have been in favor of going and getting a running back for a decent price, but it looks like Najee Harris is going to be the guy here at the number one running back spot here in Pittsburgh. They love him. Even though he hasn't really been that productive this year. So they're going to stand pat with Najee. They're going to see what they have in Kenny Pickett this year. They're going to see what Matt Canada can do as the offensive coordinator. And, you know, the thing that scares me is that to this point, that formula has just not worked. And if it continues to be at the pace that it's at right now, it's looking like it's not going to be good for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. So before I go, I do have some extra Steelers news items that kind of came to the forefront here as we kind of took a break from this morning's video. First, Kenny Pickett will play versus the Titans on Thursday. Of course, he suffered that rib injury. We found out on Monday that there was no structural damage. And today, during his press availability, Kenny Pickett said, I'm good to go. I'm going to play against the Titans. Hopefully, he's able to kick it in gear from this point forward in the NFL season. We expected a second-year leap from Kenny Pickett. This is all I heard about the entire offseason was that this kid was going to be the next great Steelers quarterback. And just to be frank with you guys, he has not been that to this point in the season, okay? The stats right now do not look good for Kenny Pickett, at least in my opinion. He doesn't look good on film, quite frankly, either. He is a different quarterback in the fourth quarter. He's done a lot better in the fourth this year, helping the Steelers get to the 4-3 record that they're at now. But overall, the rankings are just not good enough here from the advanced statistic perspective here. 35th in catchable ball percentage, 29th in on-target percentage, 22nd in big-time throw percentage, which actually isn't terrible. He had quite a few big-time throws last week, which was nice, and then against the Rams, so that's increased his ranking. Tied for 12th in turnover-worthy play percentage, and then in overall value, points above replacement, negative 7.8 points above replacement so far this year. That's 37th. The only quarterback lower with over 50 pass attempts is P.J. Walker, the Cleveland Browns' backup quarterback. So Kenny definitely needs to kick it in gear if he wants to be the starter here in Pittsburgh going into the 2024 season. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that he's going to be able to come back, but now that he's injured, along with the fact that this offense just can't seem to get it together, I have my doubts about Kenny Pickett at this point in the season. I hope he proves me wrong, but let me know how you're feeling about Kenny Pickett down there in the comments section. Who will be the Steelers' QB1 in 2024. If you think it's going to be Pickett, type P, or if you think it's going to be a different quarterback, whether that be a new rookie, whether that be a free agent, whatever the case may be. Let me know down there in the comment section who you think will be the starting quarterback for the black and gold next season. There was also a trade in the AFC North. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the former Browns receiver, is on his way to Detroit. Cleveland gets a 6th-round pick in return. Pretty inconsequential here, in my opinion. Donovan Peoples-Jones was kind of buried on the Browns' offense anyway. So overall, don't think this is going to play much in terms of the overall AFC North standings moving forward. And then I want to finish today's show by paying tribute a little bit to Patrick J. Rooney. Part of the Rooney family here has unfortunately passed away. This is the statement that the Pittsburgh Steelers put out on their social media this afternoon. I got the news when I was live on NFL Daily today. Thanks to everybody that watched that, by the way. But Patrick Rooney, part of the Rooney family, just passes away today. Unfortunate for the city of Pittsburgh and the Rooney family. We wish the Rooney family all the best in this time of grief. Rest in peace to Patrick Rooney. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much to everybody that watched all of our trade deadline content today. Tomorrow, I'll be previewing this Week 9 matchup, Thursday Night Football versus the Tennessee Titans. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications.